Let's make Fearne Calloway's Gloom Scale breastplate from Critical Role Campaign 3. For this top portion of the armor, I just used an old strapless bra that I had on hand that fits me well, and some brown felt that was in my stash. I hand sewed everything on because I would like the option of easy removal and being able to, use this bra again for a different project in the future. This part is also going to get covered up, so I'm not super worried about it looking pretty. There's no real pattern for this, I just kind of pinned and folded and made things fit to make it look flat. Once I got all of my edges and my darts sewn down, I moved on to the branch portion. For this part, I used a piece of floral wire to give me the shape that I wanted. You could probably do this with math or just by eye if you wanted, but this is just what worked. I cut out 2 of those pieces and sewed them into a tube. Normally, you would probably want to turn these inside out, but I'm not actually going to do that, and I'll show you why later. I cleaned up all of my edges and any loose threads. And then I moved on to chopping up scrap fabric to use as stuffing. So I reached for my fleece, my felt pieces for something that had a lot of bulk but didn't necessarily hold a lot of weight. We're super technical over here, so I used a Sharpie to open everything up. I'm not gonna fill this all the way just yet. I'm actually gonna sew my sections down because if I stuff it all the way and then try to sew through it, it doesn't really work. Next, I moved on to sewing down each section and adding more stuffing as I went. Sorry, my camera gets a little off angle here, but this doesn't have to be super exact. You can make it as wide as you want or as narrow as you want. You can make it straight, you can make it crooked. This just gives it some texture, a little bit of a 3D effect to help it look more organic. And you're just going to repeat this process all the way through until you get to the end of it. Next, we're going to sew it down to the bra. So this is why I told you to leave the seams on the outside, because that is actually going to be how we attach it down. This way you're not trying to sew through all of those layers of stuffing, you're not trying to sew through a bunch of thick fabric. This just makes the life a little bit easier, it makes it super secure, and because I'm using a pre-waxed hand sewing thread for this, it also kind of adds a bit of texture and dimension. We're going to sew all of those edges down all the way around on both sides, and then we'll move on to the next part. Unfortunately, I actually forgot to record this part, but this is all just hand sewed and glued down. I cut out that tiny little branch, and I also added some strips of fabric to the flat parts so that it kind of gives sort of those like striations that you see in the artwork. And then I just used E6000 to put these fabric flowers on. They are from a store on Etsy. I can't remember their name right now, but I'll put it in the description. I just ordered a variety pack and they were perfect. They're super pretty. And that is my Fearne Calloway breastplate. I hope this was helpful for you. If you've got any questions, please feel free to ask, and if there's anything else you'd like to see, let me know.